I'm going to start with a story that I hear a lot from people who shop for gaming laptops. You scroll through a sea of glossy images, see eye-catching numbers like RTX 4080 and 2.5K 240Hz, and you click Add to Cart thinking you've just snagged the ultimate portable powerhouse. Then the box arrives, you fire it up, and the reality feels a little flat. The screen looks good, the frame is sleek, but the laptop either runs hot under a couple of games, or the battery can't keep up with even a light workload. That mismatch between hype and real-world performance is why I'm doing this deep dive on the Acer Predator Helios 18. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about who actually needs a machine this big. If you're a competitive esports player who lives in a dorm, travels for LAN events, or needs to pack light for a coffee shop, this 18-inch beast is probably overkill. The size and weight push it into the desktop replacement arena, so you're looking at a laptop you'll mostly keep on a desk. On the flip side, if you're a content creator who edits 4K footage, runs 3D renders, and still wants the ability to jump into a high frame rate shooter without swapping rigs, the Helios 18 lands squarely in your sweet spot. It also fits professionals who run Windows 11 Pro for virtualization or need Microsoft Office for lifelong licensing, things that most gaming-only laptops ignore. The first thing most owners notice is the display. Acer went with a 18-inch 2.5K WQXGA panel that pushes 240 Hz and 500 nits of brightness. In practice, that means you can actually see the fine details in a fast-paced FPS like Valorant without motion blur, and the extra screen real estate makes video timelines feel less cramped. I ran a couple of color-critical apps, DaVinci Resolve and Photoshop side by side, and the panel held its own. The color gamut is wide enough for most creative work, and the high refresh rate makes scrolling through long Photoshop layers feel buttery smooth. The downside? At that size, the laptop weighs just over 6 pounds, and the chassis is a bit top-heavy. If you're used to a 15-inch laptop that you can comfortably rest on your knees, you'll feel the shift right away. Under the hood lives the Intel Core i9-14900HX, a 14-core beast that's designed for both gaming and heavy multitasking. In everyday use, like launching a web browser with a dozen tabs, running a background render, and chatting on Discord, the system never stutters. When I tossed in a recent game release, Cyberpunk 2077 at ultra settings with ray tracing enabled, the RTX 4080 kept the frame rate hovering around 70 frames per second, and the CPU never hit a thermal ceiling. That's impressive, but there's a hidden trade-off: the laptop's cooling system has to work overtime. Even with the dual-fan design, the GPU and CPU can climb into the high 80s Celsius zone after a solid hour of gaming. It never throttles to the point of dropping FPS, but you'll notice the fans kicking in louder than you might like in a quiet apartment. So, if you value an ultra-quiet environment while you game, this isn't the quietest option on the market. Battery life is another real-world factor that often gets glossed over. The Helios 18 packs a 99 Wh battery, which sounds generous, but with a 4080 and that high refresh display, you're looking at roughly 34 hours of mixed usage, maybe a bit longer if you're just browsing and streaming at 1080p. For a workstation that's meant to be docked most of the day, that's acceptable, but if you expect a full day of gaming on the go, you'll be disappointed. The good news is that the laptop supports fast charging, pulling you back to 80% in about an hour, so you can slot it back into a wall outlet during a lunch break. One feature that often separates the premium gaming laptops from the rest is the keyboard. Acer gave this model an RG backlit keyboard with perky lighting zones. The typing experience is decent, keys have a satisfying travel, and the lighting helps locate the WASD cluster in dark rooms. However, there isn't a dedicated macro row, which some power users look for to bind complex shortcuts for video editing or macro-heavy games. If you rely heavily on custom macros, you'll need an external keypad or stick with software-based profiles. Connectivity is where the Helios 18 truly shines for future-proofing. Wi-Fi 7 is built in, promising lower latency and higher throughput than the older Wi-Fi 6 standards. In my apartment, I ran a speed test with a 10 gigabits per second router and consistently saw close to 2 gigabits per second downlink, enough bandwidth for 4K game streaming or uploading large video files without choking. The laptop also includes a full suite of ports, 2 USB-C Thunderbolt 4, an HDMI 2.1, and a 2.5 gigabits Ethernet port. That Ethernet port is a hidden gem for competitive gamers who want the lowest possible ping. Plug it into a wired network and you'll see the latency drop by a few milliseconds compared to Wi-Fi alone. Now let's talk pricing. The base configuration you see i9-14900HX, RTX 4080, 32 GB DDR5, 1 TB SSD places this machine well over